Hello and welcome to the Chronic Fatigue and Burnout Recovery podcast. I am your host, Anna Marsh, a trauma-informed functional medicine and nutritional therapist, which I appreciate is a bit of a mouthful. I just wanted to create this introduction episode today to talk to you a little bit about the podcast, a teeny tiny bit about myself, so that you can know what to expect and if it's appropriate to keep on listening. I'll be sharing a much more detailed account of my own fatigue recovery story in the next episode. But for today, I thought I would keep it brief and just share some of the bare bones facts. So I have been practicing now as a nutritional therapist since 2009. And over the course of time, I've also done my certification with the Institute of Functional Medicine. And although my master's degree is in personalized nutrition, if you can hear a little tinge of my accent, I am South African and I grew up in South Africa and did my first degree in South Africa in what was called human kinetics and ergonomics, which I usually say to people is the same as sports science, and biochemistry. So I have a lot of training in the human body and how it works. I have a lot of experience working with clients physically. So while I was studying my nutrition degree, I worked as a personal trainer, and I have a lot of experience working with clients clinically using functional medicine to help them get well. And despite all of this experience and all of this knowledge about health and how the human body works, I was not invincible. And in 2019, I hit my health rock bottom or my energy crisis, and I was eventually diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. And when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, probably like anyone who is diagnosed with a chronic health condition, you begin to search for more information. And of course, I was at an advantage because I already had a background in health. I was already connected to various people and practitioners and frameworks of thinking. So maybe it was a little bit easier to find the information, but I definitely found having a lived experience of chronic fatigue and combining that with what I knew from professional practice made my professional practice so much more powerful. And it really helps me understand that unless you've really lived through the trauma of having a chronic illness or a burnout, it's really difficult to understand what that's like. And yet when I was searching for podcasts and information to help me understand the condition better and understand why I couldn't exercise and why I kept on getting this post-exertional malaise and all the extra challenges that we experience that we don't fully understand and know how to address, there were hardly any podcasts available on chronic fatigue syndrome specifically. And I found that those that were available were either kind of episodes created by practitioners who were sharing information about the condition, but didn't necessarily have a lived experience of the condition. Or there were people who had experienced the condition, but didn't necessarily have that much deeper practical scientific and biochemistry knowledge that I really needed to fully understand and fully work through what I was going through. And those people, not to diminish their experience, but I found that the information that was being shared was mostly just kind of surface level, and I really wanted to go deep. And so that's what I hope that this podcast is going to share with you. I hope that this podcast will bring a combination of that lived experience and that deeper scientific understanding of what's really going on in your body and how you can address it, not just the basic stuff at the surface level, but really understand the nuance and complexity of what may be happening in your body. Because since having this chronic fatigue experience and sharing more about it online, I attracted clients who were also going through the same thing. And I have the privilege and the honor of working with women with all types of fatigue conditions, whether that is burnout, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, and all the nuances in between. And I run a lot of tests on my clients. I see a lot of test results, and there are definitely similarities in every case. And yet also every case can be very special and unique and need its own approach. And therefore my job is to tease out what each person needs based on how they're doing in the moment, because sometimes we can also need the same things, but our nervous system isn't necessarily ready to implement and apply those things at that specific time. So really what I'm trying to say and trying to communicate is that there's a broad range of interventions that we can use to support burnout, and we can use to support chronic fatigue or chronic fatigue syndrome and other complex energy conditions. And different things work for different people. Some things are really inappropriate for some people, and some things are universal, and some things we all want to be paying attention to as we work towards better health and more energy and thriving and aliveness. So that is what I hope this podcast will bring to you, a combination of the science, the nuance within the science, a lived experience perspective, and then finally, something I haven't touched on yet, which is the trauma-informed piece, is also combining this with an understanding of the nervous system and how we need to work within the capacity of the nervous system to make the interventions required to heal and become fully well and fully thrive. So I hope you will enjoy the journey with me. I have done podcasts before with a co-host. This is my first time as a solo host, so it does feel a little bit weird sitting here talking to myself. But I hope to bring you some fantastic content over the next few weeks, months, and hopefully years. And I would love it if you could subscribe to the podcast. The intention is to release a weekly episode, so you can get that in your app or your inbox or wherever these things go on a weekly basis. And then also leave a review if you like the content, because podcasts are generally found and ranked based on reviews and downloads. So if you are enjoying what I'm sharing, and leaving a review helps other people find these podcasts, and then the podcasts can help them too. So that is everything from me today. In the next episode, I'll be talking a lot more about my personal story as we kick off all the information and everything to come. So I'll see you in the next episode.